feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should go. Go. Feel like I should go. Feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should go.
What's up, guys? This is Jay with S3 Tint. This video is brought to you by Timples. If you are an automotive window tinter or thinking about getting into automotive window tinting and you want the best way in getting as many customers as you can and converting with a better looking website, check out www.tintbolt.com. Today, we have a 2024 Lexus RX 350. Beautiful car, beautiful color. Customer wants 20% on the back. We have factory, so that's gonna turn this into roughly 5%. And she wants 35% on the front. We don't have much time, so let's get to it. I don't wanna talk too much. Let's run it. As always, we're gonna clean the sides. This is a brand new car, and so I'm not surprised that there's nothing there. Oh, this one's got a little bit, but because it's factory, we don't have to worry too much about being super clean back here. One thing that's going to be very different about this video is I want to show you guys something that I kind of discovered. So when I first rolled this window down, before I started recording, I thought to myself, I saw this gap here. Let's see if I can show you guys. So there seems to be like a very large gap here. Now, once I saw this, I thought, oh man, this thing is coming off already. How is it breaking? You're not gonna catch me with no, claiming damage as if I did something to this car. So I went to go check it a little deeper and I pulled on it. And so for those of you who do drop down, this is nothing to you, but I am strictly two-stage. 99.5% of the time, I'm two-stage. But because this car is so easy to pull back, I'm just gonna do a video today about drop down. Check this out too. This one too. Even though this has the manual shade, it's super easy to pull it off. And then just to remove this piece, let's get a little closer here, to pull the trim out. Boom. It's got a little, not really much of a latch, a little bit of rubber holding on. This is two pieces. You can tell I already did this before. You pull it out, boom, boom. This piece actually comes apart, so just be careful about that. But it's easy to just slide back in. It's got two little latches there, or hooks, if you will, that slot right into to those right there. So just zip, zip. That's it. Extremely easy. So guys, today this video is gonna be drop down. Everything else will be the same. We'll do everything like we normally do, clean as we clean, shrink as we shrink. But when we get to the install part, I'm gonna show you how that's different, okay? We're gonna fast forward through the prepping and getting everything ready, and then we'll slow down once we get to the drop down. All right guys, so see you when we get there. All right guys, so in this video, we're gonna be a little different. I'm going to be only filming this side of the vehicle. Although I talked about how it's so cool that these pull back easily, these front doors on the RX 350 2024 version, they don't come back far enough. It looks like there might be a screw somewhere behind the speaker maybe, or behind this panel or this piece here. Either way, removing the door panels where we have to start, popping off pieces and then taking off screws, that's not what I do. So that's the reason why I do two-stage, is to avoid those things and taking people's cars apart. But if they pull back easy, like the back doors do, then sure, it's no problem. But if it's a whole unscrew situation, I don't want to deal with that even if I have, which I do, even though I have insurance, I'm not trying to take any risk like that. So I've already cleaned this window, I've already prepped it. This front port window is a lot harder than I was thinking it was gonna be, so I'll have to redo that one. But let me show you guys, even though you already know how we do it, but if you're new to this channel and you haven't watched any of my other videos, when we're installing most, like 99.5% of windows, we will do the two-stage method, which is the process of, here's the film is here on the glass here, process of peeling the backing sheet halfway, installing the top part, and then installing the bottom part after we roll the window up. So I'll show you guys what that looks like very quickly. I've already rolled the window down, so I'm just gonna do this final part of the cleaning. Clean it with a dry microfiber towel. I'm gonna clean the top edge. This is a dual pane glass, and these dual panes hold a lot more contamination. Even though this is a brand new vehicle, I would not be surprised to see a whole bunch of contamination up there. I'm sure you guys should be able to see that. Maybe not very much. There's a little bit of contamination there, a little bit of dirt. And even though you're thinking, well, that's not much of anything, one too many of those, and think about it, if you were to take that streak of dust and you were to like fragment it into its individual particles, too many of those get into the film, it'll look like shit. We're good here. Clean all around the door panel. Okay. I'm almost out of water here, so I'll probably just fill this up before I install. Wet it, and then squeegee it. I'm gonna hit the top twice, and then go ahead for the rest of the body. Okay, and squeegee out the sides where you just pushed all that dirty, contaminated water into, and then we're going to rinse out the sides. I like to use my shank tool to open up the seal. And then one more. So we'll spray as we move the shank down, and then hit it one more time, okay? And then go ahead and rinse out your bottom. I'll be right back. I'm gonna just go fill this up. For those of you wondering, my little mixture of water to baby shampoo is I literally just put 2 little squirts of baby shampoo in over 887 milliliters or 30 fluid ounces. The idiot is just put 2 squirts. For me, that's more than enough. If you're new, put more. But as over time, you'll get annoyed with that because the film never sticks after you squeegee it. And so you'll need to like bring heat involved. And I still need to bring heat even with 2 squirts. But because it's cold out, 2 squirts is a bit too much, but it still works. Okay, I'm gonna wet it, get it ready for the install. There's a bunch of soap residue. That means there's a lot of soap, and it's gonna take more time to dry or to stick. So I'll definitely need to use my heat gun for this one. I'm just gonna clean the top of the glass where there is contamination that was up in behind the window, or the door, sorry. Just cleaning basically around the edges of the film where things will get exposed. I'm gonna pull the film back a bit, and I'm gonna rinse out behind it, all right? And then I'm gonna peel the backing sheet off halfway, great, this is half peel. And on the back door, I'll show you the drop down. Half peel, wet it nicely. I wet my fingers. That's only to avoid my fingerprints on the film. I'm gonna peel it, I'm gonna walk around, throw this door open. And then I start with the right corner. And on the side here, I don't just jam it in. I'm going to fold the film underneath the backing sheet so I can tuck it in behind the door seal. And the same on this side. I'm gonna fold the film below the backing sheet so I can tuck it in. Okay? And then because they're gonna have like it's kind of like deformed here, I'm gonna go into it. I'm just gonna push, oops. Go back in there. And then just fold it out. And then line it up as best you can. It's actually sticking already. What the hell? All right, that's perfect. Perfect. Line it up. Because I use a plotter, I sometimes don't need to worry too much about having to clean the edges. The plotter does a really good job, but I'll still have to do some edge control here. Oh my gosh. What is your deal, homie? Oh. It's kind of weird because it's sticky, but it's not sticking. Now we got to go to the sides, so I'm going to use my side winder to go squeegee out the sides. I push the window back with my finger so I can get a little bit more room back there. And you also want to try to hold the film in place when you're doing that so it's not moving around too much on you. Same on this side. Okay, like I was assuming. So the film is still moving quite a bit. I'm gonna give it one more squeegee. Yeah, it's still moving way too much. So what do we do for that? When it's moving too much, you grab your heat gun and heat up the edges. What I like to do is I'll heat up the right side, I'll heat up the center of the top edge, and I'll heat up the far edges. So the far edges and the center of the top. And now you need to be careful when you come into the corner here because it's so low down. This is only for the front, but because the front is usually smaller and so the lifted part of the film is closer to you, you want to point your heat gun upwards, up and away from the lifted edge and of the film, or else you'll deform it and it won't install properly. Perfect. So now it's stuck. I like to do one last thing, take my hard card and the felt side and just try to tack it down one last time. Good, film's not moving. Last but not least, if you're comfortable with it, use a blade. I use a 45-degree blade to clean up the edge. If you're not comfortable using the blade, use a filing tool. Okay, so it's really up to you how you want to do that. I prefer this. I use this for my corners where I can't reach it. Use my filing tool. I don't need it on that edge. I do need it on this one. Boom. And just because often when you do the edges, you can pull air into it, I go one last time. I go over it with the felt side of my hard card. Now it's good to go. I can roll the window up. Boom. Now we're gonna rinse out. So first, we gotta pull because we folded it and it's inside these edges. You can see that the film is lifted up and it's folded into the edge here, right? And it's the same on the other side, but I'll show you this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull out the middle and I'm gonna pull it away from this corner. And that should release this edge, okay? I'm gonna control it because I don't want too much air, too much gaps going into there. And now it's released. I'm gonna do the same on this side. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm gonna do the same on this side. I'm gonna pull it away so I can release it. And now the film, instead of just pulling it back and then you'll intensify that crease and mess up the film, you want to release the tension and then you can freely pull the film back. I'm going to rinse out my sides here, especially this side. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other side. And then rinse the glass down towards the seal, the bottom seal. Okay? Now, we're going to peel the film back, making sure not to allow it to lift up too much. So hold the film in place. Cool, throw that away. And then wet it for the install. Sorry for that dinging. I'm gonna peel back a bit, there you go. And then finally, let's get it installed. I use this tool. You'll probably use a shank or any other tool to open up the seal. So first, let me explain that again. When you're putting it in, you want the film to be flat on the glass before you attempt to push it into and below the seal. So I'm just gonna continue to push it on the edges so that the film kind of fixes itself, but you will always have this happening here. Let's see if I can get you a better vantage. You'll always have it where the film seems to be bundled up in the middle. You want to pull up the middle, be careful, and then continue to push it to the sides, right? So now the top is kind of cleared up, pull it up. I don't know if you see that, but the film is very flat on the glass, so it's gonna fit, but there's still this bundle up piece right here. I can pull back and flatten it. Now it's all underneath my seal. I'm gonna start with the center, split it in half, and then push towards the edges. Open up my seal, and then push towards the edges. There. Now all the air, or the most of the air, is out. I'm gonna wet it, and then squeegee it. And I squeegee towards the corners, the bottom corners. This is just to help straighten out the film. And it causes for less, and that's not 100%, but there's often less fingers that pop up if you push out towards the sides. Okay, give it a couple more hits. And you want to get into the habit of doing cross pattern. So cross pattern, you see here's this area here that I'm squeegeeing. When I come back on this area, it's halfway. So the end, so here's the edge, the bottom edge of my squeegee. When I come back, it's now at the center. That's a cross pattern, right? So that was the center, there's my bottom again, halfway. Here's my bottom. So when I go through and I come back, I'm back halfway, if that makes sense. This just allows you to be more thorough in your coverage area, if you will. Finish off with my Sidewinder. Again, I like to wet it just because when it's dry, this thing can pull your film back very easily. So there you go, just going to that side, squeegee that out. I'm gonna hit the top, hit the side, and then open up my seal and hit the bottom. Boom. There you go. Now it's just about done. I'm gonna remove my covers. Give it a little wipe. Grab my thinner tool. This is the thinnest tool that I have, but it often scratches the film. Doesn't matter how often I sand it down and make it smooth, it still scratches the film. This is a normal thing when you're dealing with, carbon or the lower grade films. Ceramic films usually are the only ones often enough that have scratch proof coating on them. But anyways, I'm gonna go and complete it. Do that bottom half or that bottom seal, and I'm done. All right, so that's just me showing you guys quickly how to do these front windows. That's just me showing you guys how to do that two-stage. The battery is dying on this car. Anyways, I'm gonna show you guys now the drop down on the back, but I gotta just take care of this dying vehicle. Okay, so got the car started. Crazy, the 2024 Lexus RX 350 died in about 10-15 minutes of the battery being on. I've had much older cars with non-new batteries that lasted longer than that. So it's very unusual. I'm going to tell the customer that she probably needs to take her car in, but what I'm showing you guys here is this piece here. This battery piece, this booster is a lifesaver. And so I highly recommend you guys to make sure you get one of these portable boosters, because this happens enough times that you're gonna want to have something that easily boosts a car. This engine makes a rattling noise that is unsettling. Can you guys hear that noise? What the hell is going on in there? I don't know. Anyways, get you guys one of these, yeah? I know I got my microphone off, so hopefully you guys can still hear me, but one of the sad things about this car is when the battery dies, because it's very much an electric type of vehicle. It's not an electric vehicle like an EV. Obviously that engine is not hybrid or anything. It's just straight up an ICE vehicle, internal combustible engine, or internal combustion engine, whatever. But the sad thing about that is these door panels, they don't pull back, right? They open with a little button, and then it opens the door. So when the car is dying like it just did, I'm sure there was maybe a way to do it properly, because this seems pretty flimsy. That probably might come off. But because the door was dead, the car was dead, these buttons did not work to opening the door. The only reason why I got lucky enough to be able to get into the vehicle is because earlier when I was walking past, I'm sure there's a sensor around the bottom of the rear bumper. And when I walked past, it triggered the hatch to open up, and I didn't close it afterwards. I just went and tinted this front side window. And so I was lucky that happened and that I didn't close it, because I was able to get into the vehicle and then open the door from the inside, because from the inside, these doors have a button here. You press it to open the door, but in emergency, you pull it to open the hatch. And so I was able to open up the doors this way. But since I was able to get in, even if I couldn't open those doors from the inside, I would have just popped open the hatch. I would have just crawled my way from back here all the way into the front seat, and then just open up the door, crawled back, and then hooked it up to the battery, and then crawled back in, and then boost the car, and yada, yada, yada. Anyways, let's continue, guys. Okay, so let's continue, shall we? You guys already saw me remove the weather stripping in here. So as you can see, the door panel is very loose. I have a deep, nice open area down here to drop the film in. For this, my cleaning, because it's a brand new car and it's factory tint back here, I'm just going to wipe it. And then feel it for any indentations or any issues on the glass. Nothing, and then wet, and then squeegee. I could still put my covers on. I think I will, actually. And the reason why I'm putting the covers on is not because I'm afraid of the door panels necessarily getting wet. I do trust that the engineers understood that these doors will get wet, but the reason why is just because I'm concerned about this fabric here. So I'm just gonna throw this on there just to cover up that fabric. Rinse out the sides, rinse out the bottom. Turn the car on. Hopefully it doesn't die on me. I did have to, yeah, that's not surprising. I did have to turn off everything on the car, which I should have done before. It's not always necessary, especially not on the first door, but the battery here, or maybe the alternator, is not working in this vehicle. But whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the accessories on. The heater is off. The steering wheel heater was on. The heated seats were on. The headlights were on. There was a bunch of things that were on. So I just turned them all off, and that should give us a little bit more time with the vehicle before it dies on us again. Drop this a little bit. Perfect. I just wanted it to be covered out, and then I wanted to have it clear access to the window, so I'm avoiding this curvature here. I'm gonna go ahead and wet it. Just gonna wipe it. And I'm gonna clean the top, of course. I can tell it's pretty dirty. We're gonna squeegee it. Much of this, as you can tell, is the exact same with the method that I use for double two-stage. All right, next we're just gonna clean the sides out. Get in there, rinse that out, rinse the bottom. But not only rinse the bottom, like really rinse it, not just wet it. Really rinse it, because we're dropping down the film. I'm gonna wet the rest. I'm gonna take the backing sheet completely off of the film. Still gonna do our cleaning around that around the film, but we're gonna take the backing sheet completely off this time. Completely off. No two-stage here. Okay. Next, I'm gonna pick up our film. I need this door open. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, which corner am I gonna start with? Let me start with this corner. I'm gonna start by dropping the film down, down, down at an angle until I can get the top on. And then I'm gonna start sliding the film and turning it as I go to get it to go completely under the seal there. Okay, And then I can get my other side in, bring it down, slide it over. And, oh, it's sticking already. There we go. Line it up. And then squeegee. It's so weird that it sticks, but then it doesn't stick. Actually, just squeegee it down. And I'm holding the film in place here. Cool. Just like the 2-stage, we're gonna go into the sides, squeegee what we can down there. This also helps the film tack. Okay, I'm just gonna check my edges again because the film is not stuck on. Look at my heat gun. Right, one corner. And because this is a window that has this edge here, we're gonna do this edge. I'm coming to the bottom or the side. Center. Hard card. Felt side. Just gonna press down those edges. And we really especially want to do this pressing down of the edge before we do anything like trimming it. I don't have to do anything there. Good. Let me just fix that up. Let me redo that actually. I'll explain why I have to redo this in a second. Now the reason why I'm having to redo that, just clean that up. The reason why is because often with very rounded edges on the top of the glass, you have to be a bit more trickier with how you fix the blade to it to get around that edge and actually have it. Otherwise, it still peels back. Now it's cleared. Fix this a bit there. Cool. And then going to file this edge down here. There is a way that you can clean these edges without having to use a filing. It's just more comfortable for me. You can use the blade and like kind of reverse what you're doing down here and doing it from the top here. It's never worked out that well for me. I always cut into it. So now I'm gonna roll the window up because the bottom is still not done. Roll it up, wet the glass. I see this isn't fully under, there we go. And then just finish it off. The advantage that the drop-down method has over 2-stage is that it's a lot cleaner of an install. It can be installed faster and you don't have that bend. So you know how in the front, I show you we do a bend in order to get the film to sit underneath the seals. You don't have that. So that will cause a crease that you then need to work out of the film before you present the vehicle back to the customer. But in this case, you don't have to do it because we didn't bend anything. We just slid it under and slid it under, right? So that you don't have that. The disadvantage of this versus the 2-stage is you have to remove door panels. And of course, in this case, this is absolutely nothing to remove, but otherwise the front end, I would have to unscrew stuff and then do that to all the windows. When with the 2-stage, you don't have to do all that. That would be the advantages to disadvantages between the drop down and the 2-stage method. Hopefully you learned something. You know, sometimes be careful with even if it's a brand new car, like the car is still on now. Let me go and turn it off before this thing dies. As far as I'm concerned, a vehicle should be able to last at least an hour before it dies, with just the battery being on. But of course, you know, with some of these newer vehicles, they're so technologically advanced that there's all kinds of features that are draining the battery a lot more, and they haven't made the batteries better to deal with that extra load. So they just throw in a regular battery and they don't really deal with the load, which is surprising because I expect Lexus to do better than that. That could be the issue, or it could be something different. Maybe there's something wrong with the vehicle. Maybe the alternator doesn't work or something like that. But anyways, guys, again, this video is brought to you by Tint. Go check it out if you're a window tinter and you're trying to find a way to get better, to do better in business and to compete with your competitors at a higher level. Check that out, www.tintbolt.com. And if you are looking to get your windows tinted and you are in Calgary, check out s3tint.com. Bring your car here, I'll get it done for you. All done with this car. We got that 35 in the front. We got that 20 on top of factory in the back, making it look like a 5%. I don't know if you guys can see my lights on the other side. Yeah, you can. It looks gorgeous. Again, this car is a very beautiful car. Back looking slick. Look at that sides. Hello. Beautiful car. So there we have it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Personally, I don't really like doing the drop down, probably because I haven't practiced it. I've been doing two-stage and I've done thousands of vehicles with the two-stage, and so I'm very good at that. And I've probably only done like less than 50 cars with the drop down. So I definitely don't have that much experience, but I just wanted to show you guys that sometimes even with the two-stage, there's opportunities where you could just quickly pull back something like this car and be able to do a drop down real quick. And sometimes you're gonna have to do a drop down. I didn't have to do a drop down in this case, but there are some vehicles where you do have to drop down. For example, very old Lexus ISs, I think 07s, 06, Lexus IS, the sedans, they have the tweeters at the front, and you can't two-stage with those. You have to remove the door panels and therefore drop it. Anyways, there you guys have it. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Go. Go. Feel like I should go. Feel like I should, feel like I should, feel like I should, feel like I should go.